Most people think fascia is just for looks. On this deck, it needs to solve 3 problems. Covering a 16.5-inch beam while keeping the water out and coupling it with a 11.5-inch joist and making it all look consistent. Here's how I'm gonna do it. We've already started our fascia boards because we had to, before we could lay the deck boards, we had to get our first piece of fascia on all the way around this deck. Now I'll explain to you why in a minute, and I'll show you an example of why we had to do that. If you come to the corner, you can see there's an elevation difference. There's a deficit of about 4 3/4-ish, close to 5 inches right here. We wanna make this fascia trim piece look consistent. So we just don't wanna wrap the beam and then wrap the joist separately. We wanna bring everything into the same plane with the beam. I'm calling this a quad step fascia. So there's 4 pieces to this fascia. The first piece is already installed right here. This is a piece of multi-width, and then we have a piece of 5/4 by 6 or 1 by 6 Azek. Then we have a piece of stair riser that we've ripped in half that comes in right here. And then on the very top, we're gonna cap all this with a piece of 3.5 that covers up all the end grains of our deck boards. So the reason we did it this way is so that I can keep the water from going in between the first piece of fascia and the beam to keep it dry and keep it from rotting, which is one of my concerns. Now it won't matter because they're never gonna see the light of day and they're never gonna get wet again. So that's gonna be the look of this when we're finished. So let's go over and install the wood that we need so that the fascia has something to grab onto. I drilled some really straight holes halfway through each side and then we bored them out. We have an 8-inch Versa Lok by Fasten Master, and now we're gonna take that and we're gonna screw that up into this other joist. And this is going to allow us to run our fascia down, and so it matches the fascia of the beam. And that is really legit. I put a screw about every 32 inches. They're construction legs, and I can't really move it. So now what we have is an area that's come down and it's all flat all the way around. We're gonna go ahead and G-tape this, but we're gonna have to use staples to hold it on because it's not really gonna stick too well to the soaking wet wood. But that's the next step, is to protect the wood so that if any water gets between the Azek and the board, it doesn't rot. So that's just a protective layer of waterproof membrane tape. All right, so the next step is we're going to install a folded corner. It's a way to mitigate expansion and contraction. If you're interested, there's a link below on how we make our folded corners. So let's get this installed next. Here's the corner. It's gonna match this corner here. It's similar in length. This row has the same depth, but it's thinner profile. So we just felt this would look nice. And then the next profile will be thinner. It'll step down. But we don't have this in a thinner profile. So we're gonna go ahead and put 8 screws in this, like we did here, and then we'll plug them with our Cortex. We're gonna put stainless steel screws in. And I got one in that side, and I'm gonna put one in this side. And then we'll finish this off with a proper amount of screws. The expansion and contraction in these boards will happen right here instead of right here. Now that that's done, we're gonna install a matching piece that goes all the way to the house. So we'll get a measurement, and then we'll get this piece installed next. Got it? Okay, so now I'm just gonna follow the screw pattern of the upper board. All right, so now we're putting the bottom piece on, which is a thinner piece of the same color product. It's called a stair riser. We've ripped it in half to cover the base of the bottom layer of this fascia. It's just gonna sit in there like this, and then there's gonna be this little reveal right here that looks really nice. That's done. We're going to finish adding the thin piece underneath all the way down. These boards are thinner, but they're only 12 feet long, so we'll have a seam on this one on that end as well. All right, fourth piece. There you go. There's several different ways that you can trim a deck. I feel that considering the circumstances, this is a really good option if you're considering completely covering up a really wide space. They don't make PVC up to so many inches deep. They do make a 12-inch board, but you can't Cortex it. I like to Cortex all my parts and pieces together so that I can hide all the fasteners. It gives it a very seamless look, like you see behind me. I think now that it's done, it's a really nice look, and after the rails all installed, it's gonna look beautiful for year after year after year, and you're not gonna get those expansion and contraction issues that you will with other types of fascia details. But if I had my choice, I'd use crystal rail. You might not believe this, but we put a railing on this deck that disappears during the day and lights up at night like nothing you've ever seen. Regal Ideas Crystal Rail, 10 millimeter, 98% iron free, crystal clear panels that give you absolutely nothing between you and your view. Code compliant in the US and Canada, and the LED lighting comes pre-installed in every bracket. Plug and play, no splicing, no hard wiring, just connect it and walk away. Then the sun goes down and the whole deck transforms. The glass glows, the space comes alive, and the homeowner hasn't even stopped talking about it since. So the next time you're coupled with a really large area that you need to cover and you need to keep it dry, maybe try this technique and see if it works for you.